Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. And you can text us on 81215 or follow us on Twitter at Frank on Absolute. There's the admin, Don Dusted on Fluffed.
I'm very glad to have you back, Frank.
Thank you very much. I was a bit poorly last week.
Frank Skinner was indisposed, is that what they say in columns?
I was... I tell you what, by the way, I came in this morning in a car, and the driver, sometimes listening to the radio, there might be someone listening to us in a similar situation, listening to the radio, and every now and again it goes like that. It does like a sort of like it's not properly tuned, and it growls at you. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not sure I do.
Yeah,
no.
Suddenly it's saying, this is...
Like sort of War of the Worlds.
Magic FM, and it does that, and it makes that weird noise. He had it like that, and usually you adjust it so you get it tuned right. He just left it like he liked it like that. Like he used to be in the Velvets, and he liked a bit of feedback. So it's quite early this morning when you don't really want... here we are on... You don't want that.
No.
Other than that, I suppose... a velociraptor could have got into the radio studio, and we were listening to a man being slowly torn apart. So yeah, I was quite. I lay in bed this time last week, thinking, I bet there isn't a radio presenter in Britain who will feel worse than I felt this week. That turned out to be incorrect, of course. But no, I did feel poorly.
It's not what you think. Can I be honest? I quite liked it.
Did you?
Well, I got the call. Just talk about it from my perspective.
Oh, yeah, let's do that again.
And Daisy, the producer, called, and she got quite formal, Frank. She quite liked it, I think. She said, "Hello, Emily, I'm sorry to disturb you." Sorry to disturb you.
It sounds like a voice message. Was she computer generated?
Yes. And then I
like Anna Nova.
She was. And then I liked the drama, Frank. She said, the show's cancelled. I felt like the Rolling Stones. I loved it. The show's cancelled.
Oh, well, that's... How did you find out, Alan?
I got a call from Daisy also at 6:30.
There's an element of where were you when Kennedy got shot.
Yeah.
I like the way my girlfriend found out. My girlfriend got up, put the radio on, said about 12 times, "Oh, listen to Daddy now."
Oh.
And then it was Andy Bush.
Oh, dear.
And it's about 8:05. I was sleeping in the spare room. I heard the door open, and she came in to check to see if I was in there.
Oh.
Like I was having an affair or something. And I only claimed to do a radio show on Saturday mornings, and I'd been caught out. And I did that thing, which I find is a quintessential element in any relationship. I pretended to be asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people who say we're very honest, we share everything. I bet there isn't a couple on the planet who haven't, at some time, one of them's pretended to be
Plain
asleep.
sleep, yeah.
What is it about? It's just something exciting. It's the thrill of the ruse. I think I'm asleep, but actually I'm not.
All
I find
right.
it scintillating.
So you pretend to be asleep and that you actually let them think that you're asleep, whereas I sometimes pretend to be asleep and with everybody in the room knowing I'm not asleep, and so I'll just...
That's right. Why do you know that?
You know that fake thing?
Are you doing it now?
Like where people... Yeah, I do it most days.
My favourite one is sometimes I pretend to be awake. When really, I'm having a bit of a snooze.
Oh, nice.
No, I've always found that very exciting, pretending to be asleep. I'll do it in the street sometimes, if conversation goes a bit wayward.
All right, that happens to me a lot.
It's great, though. You know, they're looking at you and you think, I wonder what expression have I got? So I do a smiley expression, and so I'll worry her that I'm having a dream of some sort of eroticism. There's a million games you can play if you're in a long-term relationship, whereas if you're not, it's basically patience. You stop with.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had a tweet. I don't mean to sound pathetically grateful, but we have had a tweet. This is from Marie.
I bet it wasn't the first time.
No, you wouldn't be wrong. Morning, Frank. You were a question... I'm so going to get my own back now. You were a question on the chase this week.
What is the chase? Or is this, were they just out walking in Cannock? in
I don't know.
Staffordshire.
Is it a quiz
I
thing?
can tell you, it's a quiz where there's a chaser and then there's a person, and there's basically like a general knowledge
TV?
quizzy expert. Yeah, it's a
What,
TV.
what channel are we
I
talking?
think it's ITV, and I think it sometimes clashes with Pointless, so you may not have caught it.
What?
I will be Sky Plussing it now.
But it may not clash
Do you want to
entirely
know-
with
I'll
Pointless.
go straight from Pointless. What
I think
about
you can go from one to the other if you like.
Pointless Celebrities last week? Cheeky Girls was on.
Were they?
Yeah, that's a bit harsh to put them on a programme called that. And I said to Kath, they'll so go out first round, they'll so go out first round, they'll so go out first round. They went out first round.
Oh,
Oh,
I was expecting a surprise there.
no surprise.
I was expecting
Not with the
it to go.
cheekies.
Oh,
Yeah.
spoiler alert. The
One of them-
cheekies went out first
Turns
round.
out one of them's an expert on Brunel, or like, who knew?
Frank, do you want to know...
Can I just say, one of my favourite examples of reading between the lines was Margit, who is the mother of the Cheeky Girls. I saw an
Okay,
interview.
you know quite a lot about them. You know their mother's name?
I've worked with the Cheeky Girls.
Of course you have.
And Margit said that when Gabrielle was going out with Lembit Opik, she said, they talk about all sorts of intellectual things. The other day they were talking about astronomy. And I thought, I know exactly what they were talking about. They were talking about his theory that a big meteor is heading towards the Earth. That's what they were... She wasn't talking... She was being spoken to by Lembit Opik about his pet meteor theory. And halfway through she was thinking, I hope you're right and I hope it comes now. Carry on.
Anyway, you were a question on The Chase this week. Do you want to know what the question was?
Let me guess. Who had a massive hit with a single called Three Lions?
No. Which comedian lost millions?
Oh,
The contestant and the chaser both got it wrong.
yeah.
I can exclusively reveal that it was.
It was me. They didn't know that. That was something.
No.
Can I say, I was in the warm embrace of Coots, the bankers, when I lost...
Oh my God, I feel sick when you mention brands.
very kindly this week I received a Coots diary through the post.
That's nice, Frank.
Yeah, I thought it's not a total loss.
Yeah.
I can put that in the gains column. Anyway, I'm back on my feet now. Anyone's worried, don't send in money. It's not children in need. Well, odd to see Girls Aloud last night with Cheryl back in the
Yes.
fold.
I didn't.
Well,
see it.
what did you think of it?
I thought maybe she might have gone back because things aren't going as well as they were, but do you think that's right?
No, surely not.
I just seen her as part of the gang, like seeing Robbie as part of Take That.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with it.
Oh,
Grimace was on last night.
Grimace.
Yeah.
But you know that bit in the chorus line when
Musical.
when the woman auditions for the chorus line, she used
He's
to be a
very
star.
metrosexual.
And the bloke says, you can't have you in the chorus line, you're a big star. And she said, look, I just need the work. It was
Oh,
like that.
right,
It was like that, but alive on telly.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. We've also had an email,
Yeah.
which I'd like to read out to you. This is from one of our listeners in Malaysia, Penang.
Probably our listener in Malaysia.
This is Mike, who's a fan of our show.
What is the Malaysia? Malaysia's something Asia. What is it? It's not something, though, is it? There's a word. Malaysia's truly Asia. That's what the advert says.
Oh, okay.
Malaysia's truly Asia.
Well, Mike Formoso, who sounds quite Sopranos. I like the
Yeah.
sound of him. He'd firstly like to add a
It'd
contribution.
be better if it was Mike Malaysia from Formosa.
I'm sorry, but it's not.
Mike Malaysia would be a brilliant name, wouldn't it?
He'd like to add a contribution for left-wing shops. Remember we were discussing that as a concept?
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a
2
long
years
time
ago.
Yes! The communist compact car dealer, Ho Chi's Minis.
Good.
Yes?
That's good.
Yeah.
I went to a socialist bookshop called Bookmarks, and we were talking about if there were other shops that had a communist thing.
Oh,
but I
that
like that.
really took off at the time.
I used to
a
do
year
it
and a half
in my
ago.
stand-up about 20 years ago. I used to do a thing about Bullseye. Remember in Bullseye when they used to say things like "in one," and he used to sum up stuff by saying, "If music be the food of love, tuck into this radio cassette player."
Yeah.
And one of them was in 6 from Ho Chi Minh to Minh Ho Chin. It's a video of Vietnamese war atrocities. I don't know can you still say me now, Chin?
Well, if you can't,
You know
then
what,
that's
we've
why
said
the
it now.
producer's
I'm doing
got a
it.
head in
I'm
her hands.
speaking about it in a historical thing. It's not the sort of
You know
material
what?
I do now, obviously.
I don't think you've done the worst thing that a DJ's done this week. So it's
No,
fine.
you. Well, hold on. Allegedly.
Okay.
So, speaking of...
Yes.
sorry, did you have something else
No,
to say?
I was just going to say he's getting married. Mike Formoso's getting married in 3 weeks in Ho Chi Minh City. And he says, it's dawned on me, I've had loads more interaction and pleasure from the show, from an hour or so every week.
Than I have from my fiancée. Is that how this is going?
Then he has
Is he proposing?
his friend. So he's inviting us to the wedding. Basically, we've got an invite to a wedding.
When is it?
He says there's loads of eligible chaps to show me around the city.
Okay.
There's no date, which makes me think it's a non-invite, really.
Oh, right.
It makes me think that they'll just have it when we're available.
Oh, that's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah. There should be more room wedding invitations.
Yeah, rather than a save the date card, a choose the date card.
I
That'd
quite
be good.
fancy Ho Chi Minh City, though.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's a great... You know, people, they go to elaborate lengths to call things like St. Petersburg and stuff like that. Why not just say the name of the person and then put city after it? Like Radio City. It's got everything.
Is that where you live, Mr. Radio?
Yeah, that's where I live. I live in Castle Radio. It's where I live.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what I'd love to know. I don't normally just come up with a text in out of the blue. But something like that's been very much in my mind this week is celebrities turning on Christmas lights.
Oh, really? You got a story?
Well,
Have you,
I'd just like to know is who did your local lights? Because it's surprising who comes out to turn the lights on.
Yeah,
There's all sorts.
I haven't been asked.
No,
Well-
I used to turn the lights on in David Baddiel's house on Friday nights.
And then you turn them off again. You like to
at-
save the pennies.
I was at Shabbos Goy.
What's that?
You know, Jewish people on the Sabbath, they can't do anything 'cause it's a time of rest, so they get a
right.
non-Jew to come in and do things like put the dishwasher on and turn the
do they?
lights on and stuff like that, yeah. I used to flannel wash him from head to foot on a Friday.
And that's called Shabbos Goy, is it?
That's a Shabbos... Elvis used to be a Shabbos Goy when he was a young man, yeah. You get paid.
Oh, really?
But I mean, you know, you're not supposed to, it's not like supposed to be a job. You're supposed to be helping, and then they give
Well,
you
that
a
time
gift.
you would have been on the circuit as well, so it would have just supplemented your comedy income.
Yeah,
wouldn't
exactly.
it?
It wasn't a lot of work.
Orthodox Judaism.
I
on
used
Absolute
to
Radio.
I used to cross and uncross his legs while I was watching the television.
Who Elvis?
Yeah, I wish he didn't wear the dressing gown.
Oh, and the big lapels, and too many guns.
I think he's talking about David Baddiel now.
That's
Yeah,
me too.
Oh, you're talking about? He doesn't have any guns of any kind.
You think you know him?
Yeah.
Frank, I don't like to boast, but up
You
north...
do?
Okay, I do. But up North London way, in the Highgate area, Alex Zane is switching on the lights.
Wow.
Can I just say...
Is he?
I like an emo Christmas lights, because he might be it's a bit sort of Santa and eyeliner and skinny jeans, isn't it?
Yeah, fringe.
And, Frank, George Michael. I'm whispering when I say his name.
Yeah.
I always worry about getting sued. But he contributes to the whole...
He's
fun.
not turning the lights on.
No, but he
I was
gives
gonna
money
say,
towards
he
the
rarely
lights.
turns the lights on in his own car. Blimey! I say he'd have been a scoop. What about Regent Street in central London? Was turned on by 40 members of Team GB, the Paralympics and the Olympics teams, and the cast of Matilda.
Really? As
They're
many as
supposed to
that?
be turning them on, not putting them off. I thought I'd get there. Rebecca Adlington would be on a cherry picker with a coil of fairy lights.
Were they trying to perplex...
I'm not suggesting, by the way, that Rebecca Adlington has a coil of fairy lights. That would be very impractical.
Were they trying to perplex somebody that said, how many members of Team GB does it take to change a light bulb?
Maybe that was it. But I mean, they can't all have a... You want to see the sort of plunger, the sort of celebrity plunger
Yeah,
they
yeah.
get.
Yes.
You want that, and they wouldn't have all been able to get a hand on it. That's over egging the pudding.
There's Rasta Mouse turning on the lights in Oldham Town
Now,
Centre.
that sounds really like
Brilliant.
a money-saving idea, though, because they haven't had to pay a proper celebrity. That's
Well, there'll be the voice
Oh,
of.
I like it when he gets angry, a proper celebrity.
No, I mean, like, I'm worried
was
now
it at?
about spoilers.
That's in Oldham.
I bet we find out that Alan was up for that and didn't. There's an air of bitterness. Isn't there?
No.
No, the thing is with that, they're saving money and good people, proper acts.
You know what it is? I realised that I was about to say a person in a mouse suit, and then I worried, there might be kids listening, and so I've backpedaled and
Yeah, but
realised.
good on you
Anyway,
for doing
it's
that.
out now. It's out
He
now.
can't turn them on. It's like that Snowman advert. It's ridiculous. Is he going to be on a stool? I'll find that depressing.
But they've
if he's on
got a bloke
stool.
that's just on equity minimum in a mouse costume. That's much
thought you
cheaper
weren't
than
gonna
getting
say
an
they were in
actual-
a mouse
I know, I've
costume.
done it now, but it's now. It's
Speaking of
out.
which,
It's
I
out.
watched
innit?
Children in Need last night, and there was a lot of virtual podsy.
Oh, was
A
there?
lot of,
Oh,
a lot of computer generated, and there was the odd shot of the person in the podsy outfit. I mean, you couldn't see their face, but from their posture, you could tell they were thinking, I can see how this is going.
right.
They won't want me
Do
at
you think-
all next year.
Do you think the real Podsy's getting a bit old and starting to lose it? Like when
The real podsy.
like when the Blue Peter pets go a bit funny and then they get moved out.
Yeah, that's what it is. Already blind in one eye. That's fine. Have him put down.
Lost the bowel control as
Oh,
well.
I don't want to think about that. Oh dear.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
He's talking about Christmas lights, if you can still call them that.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah.
have to call them winter lights.
you know
I don't know how
Rihanna.
snowmen get away with it.
No.
Everyone a white male. Couldn't be right. That needs to be changed.
So
Have
patriarchal.
you ever seen a snow woman? They must make
Yes,
them.
I have seen them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think much to them.
No.
Jeff Lloyd Macclesfield.
Well, is that his full name? Hyphenate. Jeff Lloyd's doing Macclesfield.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard a bit of his show the other day where he was hoping that some coach driver would drive him up there. Or something.
Was
I
it?
didn't hear the end of it, but
What is...
it's a good.
He's hitchhiking to
It
turn the
sounds
Christmas
like it.
lights
Yeah,
on.
it sounded like it.
Oh, that's... no.
Rihanna, you know Rihanna.
I know Rihanna, yeah.
You know, you've
I
probably
don't
worked
know
with
her,
her.
but
You've worked
I
with them
know,
all, haven't you?
I know who she is. She's one of those performers who one very much associates with young women watching her perform and saying, "Go, girl."
Yeah, well,
There's a certain group of those. Beyonce, probably Adele.
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah.
know, they're saying, "Yeah, go, girl."
She is
Go,
getting
girl.
£5 million, I believe, for turning the Christmas lights on in a shopping centre.
Go, girl.
Go girl, indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big old go girl.
Turning the
You,
lights
you
on.
make
in
it sound a bit threatening when you say it.
There must be caretakers listening to this who think I turn the lights on in a shopping centre every morning and I get £38 a week.
I mean, I don't like to undercut a fellow self-employed performer, but I would have done it for four
million.
No, four.
Oh, yeah.
£4.
That's what she's getting, 5 million.
Yeah, I mean, the irony of it is that I bet she gets sent a lot of free stuff. She never goes in shopping centres. I bet she's...
I bet she doesn't even switch her own lights on.
Exactly, she'll
Yeah.
have staff for that, won't she?
Yeah.
It's
I
probably
wonder-
the first work she's done for years.
Yeah,
I wonder
the
how
first time
much
she's got
the,
her hands dirty.
Lovable rogues from Britain's Got Talent are getting.
Where did they do?
Well, I only know because Daisy, the producer, she was boasting a bit. She went, "Other Lovable Rogues doing Ealing."
Oh.
I didn't even know who they were. Had to-
Yeah, I
had to
remember
Google
them.
Do
There were
you?
3 sort of jolly lads
They're a
on
bit
Britain's Got Talent.
Mumfordian.
They were a bit. I think they might have had a ukulele one week.
Bit Mumfordian.
Yeah, they
Were they
were.
lovable?
They were in the Mumford bracket.
I don't think they'll be getting 5 million.
Oh, they were lovable. Yeah.
All right,
Whether they were rogues,
who's to say?
I don't know about that.
I wonder who's doing Murfield, where I grew up. Someone will text in, won't they? Murfield,
Yeah, that'll be
West
Fine
York.
Time Fontaine.
It'll be. Is he an
Yeah,
actor?
you know.
Fine Time Fontaine.
Fine Time Fontaine.
Yeah, I know that actor.
Yeah, he always does. He always does panto at Wakefield Opera House, if I remember
Does
rightly.
he?
So he's in the ballpark.
Well, where I grew up, Murfield, is the only other person that is in the public eye that has come from there is Patrick Stewart, Jean-Luc Picard.
He'd
But
be a good one.
I can't imagine he'll be doing Murfield's Christmas lights.
Oh, I love him. I loved his work at that award ceremony with James Corden. It's one of my favourite things ever.
I'd be quite chuffed to see. That's a good booking if they get Patrick
I
Stewart.
bet they can't, though, can they, surely? In fact, I'm not even sure Murfield gets Christmas lights.
Well, they don't think even get lights.
I don't know.
Oh no!
You know the North has
Perhaps you
been
get-
heavily hit by the cuts, don't you?
Maybe that that job that Rasta Mouse, that maybe they'll get you in to switch the lights off.
I'd do it.
I know you would. I don't doubt that for a minute. And you'd do the voice for Rasta Mouse if you had to.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Are we going to take a little trip to Email Corner?
Oh, OK. Do you want the jingle and everything?
Sorry, am I being high maintenance
No.
over here?
All together. Email Corner! And relax.
Hi, Frank, Emily and the Cockerel. Whilst walking the dog under a beautiful starlit sky, I was listening to the podcast
Love it so far.
and to you discussing reusing waxwork dummies. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was saying that there's a shop in London that's got
Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon in the window, the waxworks. No real reason.
I have first-hand experience of this. Last year I took my kids and nieces to Portsmouth to see HMS Victory. In the Battle of Trafalgar
Just talking about
experience.
that 2 days ago, going
No.
to see that.
Were you?
Yeah, I met someone from Portsmouth, and I was saying I flew over it in a helicopter once. It looks great.
Oh.
I was on the Golden Hind once. You know the Golden Hind, Francis Drake? I think it was a
Yes.
replica. And they
Stop
had
name dropping.
They had a parrot on there.
Oh.
That, it was quite a good one.
Right.
Quite loquacious.
Oh, was
And
it?
2 days after me and this mate, 2 days after we went on it, the whole thing burnt down.
Oh, no.
Parrot was
Parrot and all.
Parrot died in the.
Was it toast?
And I remember my
Another
mate
dead
said,
parrot?
My mate said, he was only talking to me 2 days ago. It's a terrible way to go, though. Poor thing. Imagine it screeching and then on the perch, as in a rotisserie.
Some people are having their cornflakes
sorry.
right now as you
Can we get back
have
to
this morbid fantasy of
So we're in the Victory.
Yeah, HMS Victory.
Yes, HMS Victory. In the Battle of Trafalgar experience, there are a load of mannequins reliving various aspects of the battle. As the sound of cannon rang around the room, I suddenly came face to face with Sir Bob Geldof, dressed in British naval uniform, some sort of megaphone in his raised microphone hand, screaming instructions to the crew. I looked in vain for the rest of the Boomtown Rats, or even an errant mid-jaw, but he seemed to be alone. I have photo evidence if you would like to see it. That is all. No night's move. I simply don't have the time to show Emily around Oxfordshire unless late at night with the dog.
Don't do that. Don't say no to that.
That sounds very Tory MP.
That is strange. I actually, I did a PhD in mid-year. Have I ever told you this?
No.
Yeah, in the life and works of mid-year.
No.
Yeah, I was a mid-year student.
Oh!
I'm terribly,
Very good.
I'm
Very
terribly
good.
sorry, everyone.
Why did you pursue it?
I think we've
liked
have
it.
we not discovered here some sort of not very exciting human trafficking?
Yeah.
The waxworks have been they've been reused. I mean, Bob Geldof has been press ganged. It's as simple as
I looked in vain for the rest of the Boomtown Rats. Good luck recognising them.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, who's the sailor in pyjamas? We never had one text telling us who turned on the Christmas lights in the area.
That's true.
Do you think they're all right?
Are you worried about them?
I'm a bit worried about the audience.
You've
I
gone a bit.
noticed
He
there's
hasn't called. I hope he hasn't had an accident.
Yeah, can
Hey, you've so gone like
if
that.
you're listening, can you nip round the listener's house and see how many bottles of milk there are on the step? Because I think they might have had one of their falls.
I'm so glad you like my fingerless gloves. Alan hated them.
I like them. They
I
got a
know.
sort of a sexy step toe feel to them.
Alan said they reminded him of
What did I say?
Hilary Devey.
What did I...
Yeah.
I love Hilary Devey.
I know.
Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by... Anyway, we're
back
still
to
in email corner.
Are we still there?
Yeah.
We don't need to return.
No, I haven't sounded the retreat.
Okay. Dear Frank, Alan and Em, quite personal. I'm a long-time listener of the podcasts and was surprised to hear Frank mention filming of the Fast and Furious 6 near his house the other day.
Oh, yes.
Because the filming has just finished for the very same film below my house. What's so special about that, you may ask? I live in a small village in Tenerife, just below the volcano, And they've been using the new and not yet open ring road to film some road chase scenes, which runs just below the village. Every day, kids have been hanging over the bridge. That doesn't sound very health and safety.
Sounds a bit Michael Jackson's hotel room.
Blanky. Watching the filming after school. It's all been quite exciting. And yes, I probably will watch the film, even though I've
Can
not
I say
seen
that
it.
wasn't the joke? Some of you might have thought that was a very dark joke. It was
No, I know what
it
you
was
mean.
about hanging his baby.
No,
over the side.
Blanky.
On the
Yeah,
balcony,
Blanky.
yeah.
I suddenly realised I'd had a juxtaposition of images which could be misinterpreted, and I just wanted to nail it right there.
It's not quite dark, but when I see
He's
the...
certainly not as dark as he used to be.
No.
That's a
Well,
fact,
actually, he
yeah.
probably is now.
Okay, when I see the Russian bridge, I'll be thinking of you. That's
I hope
from
that's not a
Kirsty.
euphemism.
Kirsty in Tenerife.
You keep my Russian bridge out of this. Well, that's lovely.
That's nice, but a
been a
couple
lot-
of points, Emily. I think you'll find it's pronounced Tenerife, isn't it?
Is it?
Oh, you're a Take Me Out presenter.
Yeah, in that way.
Been a lot of filming outside my flat over the last week or so.
Has there?
There's a new ABFC. You know, I live near to Lambeth Palace.
Oh, of
Oh,
course.
yeah.
It's a new ABFC.
Yeah.
Oh, the new guy.
And
I
he
wanted
is
to
new.
ask you
He
about
is
him.
new. He's literally new, isn't he?
Justin Welby. Justin Portal Welby.
What?
Shut up.
Yeah, that's his middle name, Portal.
No.
Yeah. And you know my big Portal theory about when you listen to music.
Oh, God.
No, it's clean. I'll tell you. Well, I'll tell you. I'll run it by you during the adverts. and you
Okay.
No, it's perfectly clean. It's sort of musical theory. So nip round and see if they're all right.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane.
Did you forget?
Text us on 8, 12, 15. I have to do this bit every hour. Follow us on Twitter at Frank on Absolute.
Oh, what a chore.
Yeah, but, you know, I don't want to give people dead air. I want to give them something new and different. Even if it's rubbish, I like it to be something they haven't heard before.
Well done for soldiering through that.
Thanks very much.
You're a
At least I
trooper.
don't have to. I'm not one of those people on the adverts who have to say, "Could you shut me love you? Do it. Take a pen of it. I've got it right at the end really quickly." That's how I need to start doing it. See how quick I can do it. We'll have a bit of a
We'll look out for that. 10 o'clock.
next hour. I'm going for it like there's no tomorrow. And at my age, there might not be. So what?
Well, we've got some Christmas lights. News 8:04 says, "Hiya all." I like a hiya.
Hiya.
In Bristol, JLS switched on
That's
the
good.
lights
That's a result.
at the Mall
Yeah.
Cribs Causeway. That's quite good, isn't it?
Yeah,
That
That's
is
a good
good,
one.
because he's only recently finished his court case, hasn't he? So,
Who?
JL... Oh, JLS! Oh,
Not
Oh.
jail.
I was going to say, did he have his pocket pad?
No, he's out and about though. Yeah.
I've seen him. And Steps did the honours in Yate. What's Yate?
It's a wine lodge.
Oh, that's what I thought. Is it
The
a
bubbles
place?
really burst for Steps. They're
It's-
turning on the Christmas lights in Yates Wine Lodge.
Oh no,
No, I think it's a place. It must be a place.
it'll be a place.
I'm making a little joke.
Steps. They were on, weren't they on Children in? I know they were on the One Show,
Oh,
Oh, okay. Oh, what were they doing?
miming.
I thought they might have been eating or something.
No, they were on a bus miming. We've all done it.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a little tape of me saying 1 and 9p to Birmingham town centre, please. And I've been playing that for 40 years.
Frank, what was this radio as Mr. Radio? I think it's wholly appropriate that you were the star turn at the radio festival. I love that you were there.
I won't say I was the star turn, but I was at the radio festival in Manchester this week. The radio festival, in case you're wondering, is very like the TV festival with one main difference.
No pictures.
It's about radio. And it was, there was a lot of proper radio stars. Like, before me, Vicky Blight was interviewing Steve Lamacq. Mm-hmm. And then after me, I think Billy Bragg was doing the John Peel lecture. So it was a very interesting, because John Peel, of course, is like a
Still okay? Yeah.
Kevin Bacon connect. I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's so much good on the other side of the
Okay,
scales.
fine.
I'm not sure. I think the jury's out, but he played the Fall a lot.
Yeah.
And interestingly, he played the Fall a lot. Billy Bragg was giving the John Peel lecture, and a little Kevin Bacon connection. Once, when interviewed, Mark E. Smith asked if anything frightened him. He said Billy Bragg in a lift.
Oh.
So, a little connection. There. Leave that with you.
I met him once with Russell Crowe.
Billy Bragg?
Anyway, I didn't want to top you, but...
You met Billy Bragg with Russell Crowe?
Yes.
I'd rather meet Billy Bragg, to be honest. Russell Crowe's always seemed like a spiteful individual.
I can't comment.
No.
So go on.
Is he actually a crow?
No,
Okay.
that's Ronnie Wood.
What I'd like is that you say I met Russell Crowe and John Pertwee came in and he was absolutely terrified. Used to play Wurzel, Gomage, Mark. Mark, did you not get it?
Meanwhile, over at the radio festival...
Yeah, so I was interviewed by Adrian Chiles.
Yes, the two Brummies.
Yeah, it was a bit. I think they were struggling a bit because we got very hard, and then there was the time I used to got like that. I could see people were struggling, but there was a line of introductions. Mark Radcliffe had to introduce Adrian Chiles, and then Adrian Chiles had to introduce me.
Wow.
I was tempted to come on and introduce Mark Radcliffe and see how long we could keep it going. But Mark Radcliffe's introduction was very fine. He said, we got Adrian Chiles is going to be introducing Frank. Adrian Chiles, just never met him before. Much taller than you'd expect. Very tall. He said, if you ever meet the Proclaimers, that's a similar thing. You expect them to be smaller, but they're very tall. Very tall. So when I went on, I said, it's weird that, because I met Peter Crouch, surprisingly squat.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Sorry, we were just talking about me being at the radio festival.
In Salford.
In Salford.
Not Manchester.
Sorry, just
Sorry.
quickly,
Minor
before we
point.
continue,
No, you're quite right.
Croydon had Mo from EastEnders. That's from Belinda.
Big or little?
Oh, good point. Oh, it's got to be big.
Well, I don't know. Would you risk her on a gantry? So, it was on about the radio festival. So I was talking about the whole... I should say that Sarah, our assistant producer, won she's in a special category called the 30 under 30s, which is supposed to be the 30 young people in radio who are the most up-and-coming, promising, will do great things. Am I right?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's a poison chalice, but then she's used to that. Yeah.
She did seem upset about last week's week off, muttering something about the dosage. I don't know what that was
Yeah,
about.
exactly. Well, I felt a lot better since. I think she overdosed with the week before. That's why I was ill.
Under 30, my eye.
Oh, it was a bit insulting, but I was just glad you said I. Yeah, so that was... I'll tell you what we did talk about. We talk about how my listeners won't be aware of this, either of them, but I deliberately placed myself in a sort of cosseted cloud cuckoo land on this show. Is that there is a screen face... I sit at one side of the desk, and Alun and Em sit on the other. And there is a screen where where a listener's texts come in and emails, and I have mine switched off in case anyone says anything unfriendly. I simply can't cope with negativity of any kind. Yeah. I need to operate on a theory that this show has got Britain rocking with laughter, and that's how if there's any doubt in that, I'll just crumble. And so. I use Alan and Emily as I think what Saddam Hussein used to call a human shield. So they have to take the bullets for me.
Yes.
And
a lot of your radio career you use Gulf War analogies on as well, it would appear.
He's a bit of a Stormin' Norman.
Yes. Later I'll be introducing the mother of all travel.
That would be great.
So, who is the mother of all travel, would you say? There must be a goddess somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll work
we'll have a little thing.
We'll have a think about
Text
it.
in.
Yeah, text in.
On 81215 if you know who the mother of all travel is.
On absolute deity.
Wouldn't it be absolute maternity?
Probably.
I explained this, and I said, so, you know, I always imagine that everyone is absolutely loving it, and that's how I get up on Saturday mornings. And I said, for example, and I told them about the A.E. Houseman alarm, which regular listeners will know about. Every time the poet A.E. Houseman is mentioned, as an alarm goes off. And I explained this theory to them, and nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. Because I've always thought it was one of the great comic constructs of the 21st century. Turns out nothing in it. There's nothing in it.
We thought it was Dead Parrot sketch level.
Yeah.
I never enjoyed that, actually.
Yeah. Really?
No. Don't like Monty Python very much. So, anyway.
That's a bit... So we all like different things. Can I say I was laughed at scornfully before this show began this morning, because the rest of the team were talking about how they love Homeland. And I said, I've really got into Merlin. Why is that funny? Why is that funny? Why is that funny?
It just is.
It's a really good programme. I had no idea.
Because it's very sweet. It's a bit 8-year-old boy in Wisconsin. That's what I like about it.
Well...
It's just funny. Just take it as the...
Have you seen it?
You know, I've seen it, but it's...
You said you were being uncool, didn't he?
Yeah, what's funny is that you really like it at a point when everybody else is into Homeland. It's just funny. It's a funny bit of being frank.
I think it's your anti-Britishness. Just because Homeland's an American programme.
I've never seen Homeland.
Really got these people who say, oh yeah, it's like that episode of Seinfeld, isn't it? Oh, it's like that time. You remember that time on Curb Your Enthusiasm? No, I don't! I don't know that episode. I don't remember that time, and I don't care about that programme because it's not from the home of the English Rose. It's not from the home of Shakespeare. It's from America. So shut up about it like it makes you clever, you idiots.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank did go on a bit of a rant about earlier, didn't you, darling?
Well, that's gone a bit Craig Revel horn.
But Martin has texted in or tweeted us to say, "Don't worry, Frank. I'm sure someone has said it's like that episode of Blue Heaven."
I bet they haven't. Can I say Blue Heaven was a sitcom that I did in the early 90s?
Yes.
There was 6 episodes. If anyone's ever said it's like that time in Blue Heaven, I will eat not only my hat, but I'll eat one of those big Philip Tracy's that Boy George wears.
Oh, right.
In his black neck period. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When he thought, getting a bit of a double chin, I know.
I'll paint it black.
Paint it black.
Paint it black, why not? We've also had texts in about the mother of all travel.
Oh, yes.
With many texters saying Judith Chalmers.
That's a good...
mother of all travel. And
that's
then
a good choice.
one or two saying St Christopher.
Well, I thought him, but he's both fictional and male.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which does put a spanner in the works.
Well,
and
a lot of
one,
my favourite people are fictional and male. I'm not holding that against him.
One saying, how would you pronounce Boadicea?
I think it's Boudica now, isn't it?
Is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
they keep changing. I can't, they're so PC.
Unless you're talking to
These
a goose.
PC times, I can't keep up with it.
If you're talking to you have to say Boadicea to a goose. I don't know about you, I wouldn't. Anyway. Yes, Boudica, mother of all travel. What, because of the...
Chariot.
Chariot with the blade sticking out the axles.
I guess
Oh, the
so,
little
yeah.
Ben-Hur one, I like that.
I think she died on Peckham Rye or something. There's some link to Peckham Rye with
Wow.
I don't think that was a chariot. That was a
She wasn't
shopping
the
trolley.
last.
She was a lady.
maybe.
Frank, I've realised because you were sick...
Yes?
We didn't discuss the elections, which was
What
very
elections?
exciting.
What ones?
It was that Obama won that X Factor
Oh, I thought you meant the
thingy.
police commissioner.
No.
No one discussed that, did they?
No,
That's
no one
part of the
even-
problem.
I love that. Well, brilliant. I should have stood. There's areas, if I'd have stood, I would now be the police commissioner because nobody voted.
You know everybody basically wants an easy day at work. Do you think the counters, when they turned up that ballot box and nothing fell out, they just thought, oh, well, this is going to be easy, rather than just tons
I
of them?
thought they'd all be police people as well, the police commissioner
Yes,
thing.
I would have assumed that.
Could John Prescott be arrested for impersonating a police officer? That'd be brilliant.
But Frank, I've got a confession.
Oh, tell us.
I slightly humiliated myself on election
Excellent.
night, I'm
Definitely
afraid.
tell us.
I've just remembered that I don't eat during the talking bit. 1 week off and the whole system goes to pieces. Sorry, everyone. Carry on, Em.
Sounds lovely.
There's probably a whole seminar at the Radio Fest on why not to eat chocolate hobnobs during
There probably
broadcasting.
was. Sadly, I missed it.
Go on, pray tell.
So,
Dr. Fox says no chocks. I think was the title.
I thought I'd sort of keep abreast of what was going on.
Rubbish.
Rubbish.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'll approve of this, but
Do you mean the American elections?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd had a few, Frank, I'm afraid. I had a few champagne cocktails. I'm sorry to
Really?
say, yeah. I'm sorry. It all went a bit 90s.
I'm all for it. Just because I don't. doesn't
I
mean-
know, Frank, but I don't think you would have liked the person I became that night,
Well,
if I'm honest, because I got quite talkative. You basically couldn't hear any other voice other than mine that entire
okay.
evening.
right.
But I thought I was articulate. And because, anyway, I was standing by this bar. This Dutch man approached.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Came up to me, quite young.
They're all right on the flat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Put them on a hill.
yeah.
He approached me in what I don't think was a filthy creep way, to be fair. It was just sort of a Dutch hospitality
Yeah, they're
way.
very, very open people.
Yeah.
Not like us.
If he'd offered you a drink, you'd have been paying for it. They go Dutch, don't
You
they?
think-
So that's their thing.
of course.
I wish I'd thought of that. Instead, what I did was bore him. I turned into what I call pub paxman. I bored him. We started talking about the elections.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, what do you think?" I said, "I'll tell you what I think." I went on and on. About an hour. I don't even know
kidding
anything
me.
about politics, Frank. I was
An
going on
hour?
about primaries and caucuses. I don't really know what they
really?
are.
GOPs?
I
Did you chuck
talked.
in GOPs?
I started lecturing him about proportional representation. He said, "We have this system in Holland." I said, no. But the thing is,
Yeah.
I just said first past the post because I heard Paddy Ashdown say that once. I went on and on. Do you know how boring I was?
How boring.
He walked away. He didn't say excuse me or feign illness or say I've got to go to the toilet.
Just
He
a
just
full
left.
walk off.
Yeah.
I must say, it's brilliant when you're so bored that manners go out the window and you think, what, escape is more important than charm.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We were talking about how boring you are, Emily.
Well, I was drunk, to be fair.
Yes.
We had a text in from 990 who says Central Reservation Emily, which I like, which
Yes.
is a reference to your years.
Yeah, when I was drinking, I often slept on the central reservation of various traffic roundabouts in Birmingham. I can't imagine you doing that, though.
No.
But you've got your fingerless gloves. You're
Yes,
off,
I
haven't
have.
See the-
I refer to it as, I say, were you Central Reservation drunk? I say to people, hoping they'll understand. But no, it was more... It wasn't so much the alcohol, it was just more that I bored someone to that degree. I was saying earlier how this Dutch man
Come
had
to do the
actually
walk
walked
off.
off. Yeah,
Yeah,
he'd
yeah.
walked. He'd actually
You know,
walked.
it might be, to give you the benefit of the doubt, it might be that you knew too much.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
I
Isn't
don't
he
know
lovely?
about you, but if I'm in a conversation... You ever been in a conversation in the pub about, I don't know, whatever, any big news story? I won't name one at random.
think of any at the
I
moment.
can't. No, and someone comes in and they obviously know quite a bit about it.
Yeah.
Ruins it.
Yeah.
Completely ruins it. It happens at football. Sometimes you have
Oh,
a
there's
person
a lot
sit
of
there,
that in football.
know all about tactics and... You know, no, actually, that wasn't offside. But I don't want to know that. I want to have a conversation. I don't want to be crippled with facts.
Yeah,
Yeah. And politics, it's easy to get real detail in it.
yeah.
And,
But you don't want to...
and really boring. Like, the irony for me is that you appeared on Question Time when you'd been sober for ages, where politics, I think, is one of those conversations that you do get a bit more interesting when drunk.
Yes,
You know.
I would agree with that.
If Central Reservation Frank had been on Question Time, I think it would have been a different episode,
Oh
wouldn't
my
it?
God, I'd have wanted ringside
Oh.
seats for that.
Wouldn't that have been exciting?
Or if Question Time had been on a central reservation week, and I wasn't really, I was found and put on the panel because someone hadn't turned up.
Yeah. See, maybe they should just give them all a drink. Like,
I don't like it. Can you sense when you've bored someone, though? I did it once
Yeah.
to the South African ambassador, and he walked off.
were you discussing the Ferrero Rocher?
No, but he said, I've got to go and talk to some of my colleagues now. I saw him propping up the bar 5 minutes later. There were no colleagues.
No.
Who were his colleagues, for goodness
At least
sake?
he gave you an exit line that time.
It's tough, I must say. I mean, becoming a parent, that you really do. You find new depths of boredom. You do. You bore people. People who don't have kids. It's like crossing the house for a politician. When you don't have kids, it's incredibly boring. People talking about their kids, and then when you do have kids, it's the most fascinating. You know, we gave my son Boz. We gave him his first solid food yesterday. That's the story.
Yeah.
To me, that's up there with the Shawshank Redemption. But if you don't have children, it's just some stupid story. So, but at least it doesn't include... Yeah, it's like that episode of The Simpsons, isn't it? Ah, shut up.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Frank, we were talking about being boring.
Yeah.
And we haven't consulted the oracle over
How many
here.
people are at home now saying, yeah, you're boring. Too right, you're boring. But you know what? I don't know. And I love that.
I think I have a voice that can take boringness to a new level. It's on almost a zen level.
He's
that
mentioned, mentioned it. He's brought it up at last.
Do you remember that time I came in and told you all that I'd eaten peppercorns the night before?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that you forget how hot they are. And then
You forget how hot they are.
you all ruined me for the whole morning. I've
it
got
was-
that in my game. My wife and I were once in our kitchen and she said to me, can you ask your mum to keep any jam jars that she's finished with? Because I might make some jam. And I went, yeah, I'll ask her when I next see her. And then she went, is this the most boring conversation we've ever had? I said, I think it might be up there, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really boring.
See, if Kath says that, I check the league table on my iPhone, which I keep of the most boring conversations we've ever had. I don't
like
mind,
it.
you know. You need light and dark. It's like
Yeah.
Milton's Paradise Lost. It's not all brilliant. You need the slightly dull bits, so the other bits rise like a mighty literary falcon.
I
It's the
agree.
connecting tissue, isn't it, between
Love
the
it.
meat?
Yeah. That's what it is. I have a sort of a conversation. You know the iPod Shuffle.
Yeah.
I have a conversation version of that. So if there's a lull, I've got a few things. I've mentioned it before. Bermuda Triangle, always straight in Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Careful where you are with that.
I've been like with someone. It goes a bit quiet. And you know, you start to feel that awkward. It's a terrible panic. It's going quiet, and I'll say the hovercraft never really caught on, like people said it was gonna. It's always, you can use that, anyone at home. It's always, people go, oh yeah, the hovercraft. You'd be surprised how people's faces light up.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cock. You can text us on 81215. Follow us on Twitter at Frank on Absolute. So,
Very good. Really good.
I'll tell you what I enjoyed this week, a bit of a celebrity feud.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I always like a feud in the...
Is it,
In the
In the family.
is it that one between me and Gary Barlow? Because he got that part in Miranda. Is it that one?
Oh.
It's not that particular
I think
one.
the papers largely ignored that when I brought it up a fortnight ago.
I think your management quashed it.
Yes.
Yeah, they've got that.
I'm talking about De Niro, Jay-Z.
Similar.
Yes.
Yeah. In case you don't know about this, it's an odd thing because Jay-Z approached Robert De Niro and said...
Well, they were at Leonardo DiCaprio's birthday party, we should say. They weren't in a wimpy or something.
And he went over and said, hey, how you doing? You know the way they do, the rappers.
I think bro was used.
Yeah.
You think? You don't think he went over and went, what's up? No?
I hope so. I hope he went over and did the crazy frog in its entirety. Just to see Robert De Niro saying... So, anyway, he said, hello, how are you doing? And De Niro said, I phoned you 6 times, you never got back to me. That's rude, he said to him.
He did apparently say that. Really.
Oh, I like it. Quite old
Yeah.
school, old man
That's
insult
rude,
that.
yeah, parental guidance. That's rude.
Yeah.
And he's right, it is rude. And I've heard he's got quite a temper on him.
Has he?
Bob De Niro. Elton John told me that...
Clang!
that he used to call him... Elton John had this thing of calling all his male friends by female names.
Oh, yes, I've heard
you know
about
the way
that,
the homosexuals do that in a light-hearted fashion.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and they sometimes call fellas her, don't
Yeah,
they? That
which I
sort
always
of thing.
find, I have to say, very hilarious.
Yeah,
Anyway, He used to call Robert De Niro Roberta, and apparently he used to get really angry about it.
Yes, he seems the type.
So I think he's a smouldering cauldron of rage.
Yeah.
It really upset me, this.
Did it?
Yes, because...
What, more than Gary Barlow getting my part in Miranda?
What is it with these people and their stupid honesty? Preserve the social hypocrisy. He shouldn't have said that. I was cross with him for saying that.
With Robert?
Yes. I think he should have been totally hypocritical.
No, I thought the lying clearly should have come from Jay-Z. When someone says, you never got back to me, I don't think I got that, actually. My phone, something wrong with my phone. You're about the third person now who said to me, you didn't get back to me about...
Oh, you're good.
You do all that,
I believed you even then when you were reenacting it.
Yeah, that's
you are a good
Can I
liar.
say,
I have to do.
What I do when I'm calling people, Frank, if I have to call more than once, just FYI anyone that knows me, if I say this, I'm absolutely livid. I say, I feel like I'm stalking you. And I laugh. And what I actually mean is, you've turned me into a stalker. Because you've ignored me.
I never make the second phone call.
Don't you?
No.
Well, if Jay-Z had obeyed that rule, he would have saved himself 5 phone calls, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
always the money with you.
But
it
Always
was
the
Robert De
bottom line.
Niro. Robert De Niro that was calling him,
But
wasn't
phone
it?
calling is I find a stressful business. If I got a phone message out of the blue from Robert De Niro,
It's not going to happen.
it would give me stomach trouble. The idea that I've got to phone back Robert De Niro, I'd get so anxious about that. Honestly, it would make me...
Do you think that's what it was? That Jay-Z was just a bit scared to call him back?
I think who wants to call Robert De Niro, you know? And
Also-
then you're going to say something stupid, aren't you? And,
Can I be honest as well? A bit old school of Bob to be leaving the odd voicemail. That's only like Michael Parkinson and people do that now. What is it? Hello, I'm calling. People text and email.
I don't
Jay-Z's
think
a bit
Michael
younger.
Parkinson's got a mobile, so there's no texting option.
But also he's
He can't find his landline. He's never going to find a mobile.
he's a nose breather as well, isn't he, Robert De Niro? He's one of those...
Yeah, he is a nose.
Yeah.
Can I say?
It's a bit sugar.
Can I say? I feel sorry for the listeners that they didn't see that impression. It was like Robert De Niro.
It was very good, wasn't it?
No, but I'm not being ironic. It was really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
He's got that downturn smile thing. But if he leaves a voicemail message just doing that, it's going to sound like a heavy breather, isn't it? Robert De Niro in a huff on the phone is just...
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he still should have got back to him. Surely maybe he found him out the blue, so you didn't get the Robert De Niro name come up on the thing.
just an unknown number.
Similar thing happened to me. A man I'd barely met. Suddenly, Neil Morrissey called me and said, "Do you want to?"
You've been quite the name dropper this half.
Neil Morrissey, FYI, doesn't count. Carry on, Frank.
No, come on. This is 10 years ago or
Pretend
more.
lad.
And he was.
A beer. I hate beer.
No, he phoned me up and said, "Do you want to see Van Morrison at Caesar's Palace, Luton?"
Extraordinary invitation. Extraordinary.
I said yes. I mean, who could say no? Jay-Z. That would have been it. But so it can be quite. Celebrities, I think they feel they can just phone each other because they're in the brotherhood.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I was doing one of my little stand-up comedy gigs. I'm still on the...
Still doing that?
Still on the comedy circuit,
Okay.
yeah. I'm not just lying back on all my filthy Absolute lucre. I'm
No.
still gigging away. And a bloke decided to heckle my shirt last night. I had a nice flannel checked, like a Fred Perry number on.
Oh, okay.
I know it.
But he did it with a little smile as if to go, "I'm helping you out, mate." And it's not a great heckle to pick a shirt. But
What did he actually say?
he said something like, "All right, mate, you've got a horrible shirt on." That was what he said. But it was as if he was trying to help me out because he started it with "all right, mate."
I blame the
Too
comprehensive education system.
Yeah, I'm not
He's
sure.
going to go on about Jamie's school dinners again.
I'm not sure he'd attended that, but
Oh, okay.
but up there with good quality heckles is Sir Peter Hall, the founder of
Oh,
the
yeah, I
Royal
know.
Shakespeare Company.
I read about his heckling.
Oh, can I just say, this is one of my favourite things that ever happened
Yeah.
in the history of
We
human
should say that
existence.
Sir Peter Hall was a very famous theatrical director. He's how old?
Yes.
Oh.
Like 81. I would
81.
say.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
he-
fair play. The fact that he's still getting about.
He claimed, I don't know if that's not in the story, but
Okay.
he claimed that he dozed off and that he woke up and he was disorientated.
Sure he did.
But people say that he heckled, "It doesn't work and you don't work. It is not good enough. I could be at home watching television." Now, that is a quality heckle.
Yeah.
Particularly as it was the lady from Downton Abbey, and a man, I can't remember his name, he always plays a cop with marriage problems.
Ken Stott,
Oh,
brilliant
yeah, that's
actor.
it.
Ken Stott,
He's brilliant, actually.
In Uncle Vanya.
Yeah, the whole of Russia is our orchard.
Excellent. See that there? It became. I felt I was in the Urals.
Oh.
It smelt like it.
You want to get that scene too?
You know what I like about this? The fact that Sir Peter Hall, give him his full handle, he said, "I could be at home watching television," because that elevates his status. If he'd said, "I could be at home watching TV," that sounds a bit X Factor, doesn't it? But if he says, "I could be at home watching television," it sort of gives the impression, I'll be watching a documentary on, like, BBC 4 about bridges. But television just... It sounds quality, doesn't it?
I like his apology as well, because
Yeah.
if you're going to apologise for heckling someone and saying that it's not good enough and stuff, your excuses, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it, I was asleep." Oh, well, that's fine.
In fairness, I often wake up and say it's not good enough, but that's another story.
Yes.
I think he just got confused, Frank.
Oh, he didn't. He was heckling. I mean, I'm not.
Yeah, totally.
Obviously, I would never dream of saying he was drunk, but I think he was raucous. I don't believe that he dreamt. He fell asleep in the middle of a play he was enjoying and dreamt he wasn't enjoying it. Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't.
I think he was
No, but I have gone to Romeo and Juliet and said cheers when they drank the poison. I'm not
Nice.
proud of it. I was at school. We got asked to leave.
Yeah, I went to it was Macbeth and in Malvern.
Lovely.
And there's a bit where the bloke looks up and he imagines. You can see something imaginary in the air, and he says, "Is this a dagger I see before me?" And a voice behind me said, "They should have had one on a string." Well, I mean, it completely spoilt it.
Well, I was actually the victim of a theatrical heckling. When I was a teenager, I played Romeo in a Dewsbury Arts Group production of Romeo and Juliet.
It's like a deep pit that we keep getting. The bucket keeps going a bit further
Yes.
down.
And
You
when
played Romeo.
I played Romeo,
Excellent.
and when I killed Tybalt...
No, hold on.
Tybalt.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry anybody that hasn't...
Oh, someone's probably on their way to see Romeo and Juliet tonight.
Anyway, that
Straight
was in
away from
our
Skyfall.
version of the production. I
Yeah.
don't know what other Romeo and Juliet are
Yeah.
like. But the lad that I was doing it with, Simon Beaumont, was quite acrobatic, so we did this big sword
Oh,
fight.
that sounds
and
a bit sleazy.
He could fall off this big shelf, and it was quite...
Big
quite,
shelf?
Like, there was a big bit of staging, so there was sort of a 4 or 5 foot drop, and I would
like a
stab
rostra.
him, and he would fall off it and roll, and it was quite dramatic.
And it fell off a big shelf.
It's a stage
Yeah,
fall,
yeah.
darling.
He did a stage fall, yeah.
Sounds like the Borrowers.
He did a stage fall
I
and then
learned at a
rolled.
drama
Do you
school.
mean
see?
balcony?
Yeah, it was sort of a little...
Okay.
Anyway, at one point, one night, did the stabbing, and a woman in the audience very loudly went, "Oh, there's no need for that." And she was right, in a way.
If only society had listened to that woman.
It
Yeah.
turned out she'd been asleep and woken up. No.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Mate, he was just bored. There is a long section in Uncle Vanya about why the hovercraft didn't catch on.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you where we're going back to. Guess. Email corner. I haven't quite sorted out that harmony, but I'm working on it.
I'm going to read an email now that's going to test my ability. I mean, we all remember
They
when...
do generally.
But this one begins with some of the French language, and I have no French,
Oh.
as they say.
I'm good at French. Go on.
Chers Monsieur Radio,
Monsieur.
Mademoiselle Émile et la Coq au Vin, j'adore le show. That's got that out of the way with.
Thank goodness for that.
Um,
Actually, just a second.
For anybody who thinks to set the...
Would you like to try that again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cher Monsieur Radio, Mademoiselle Emile et Coquevin. J'adore le show. I think that helped.
Do you know your accent was at least 40% better?
Yeah, I think so. I really think it helped.
It's very hard to speak French without an accordion accompaniment.
Uh-huh.
I remember that's the first sentence on my Rosetta Stone booklet.
You're still doing that?
Do you remember Rosetta Stone?
Yes.
What a soul singer.
I listened to the podcast whilst running in Saint Gervais in the French Alps.
He's been canonised.
He walked like that.
I mean, people were martyred. One stupid dance, straight through.
I have an obscure crush which I thought I'd share. My OC is Emily. Wait, don't get the hump, Emily. It's only obscure because I'm a happily married female with no penchant whatsoever for ladies.
One often wonders if happily married women have these thoughts.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Yeah?
Often. What does one often wonder it?
Well, often. 3 times a week. 2 days each thought.
She continues. I guess it's like Alun's OC for Beckham.
No. In good company.
She could have added in brackets and also Olaf Melberg.
Yeah.
What about mine for
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg? That was
And mine for Vince Cable.
That was a strange period.
Okay, that one's a bit weird. I accept. As
She
you were.
continues how she manages to be witty, intelligent and fantastically cutting in a good way without ever falling into the mean cow category is remarkable. I marvel at her emphatic
We
nose.
didn't read out praise. That's a house rule.
Oh, no.
It can't carry on, can it? Surely
Is it a
there's
bit
sting in the
crazy?
tail. When asked a question Emily deems beneath her, the definite things she will and won't do or wear or be seen dead with, and how she names things or gives them acronyms, it's all pulled off with such aplomb. I'm forever saying her catchphrase too. No, not filthy creep, but rather, that makes me feel sick, Frank.
Oh, I love that catchphrase.
There's no end of use to it.
She's not the first woman to use that catchphrase.
So here's why it's in. So Emily, in a Queen's move, if you're ever in the Alps, I'd be more than happy to take you for a ski. That is all. The official absolute sign-off.
Oh, do you know that's made my day?
That's from Sarah, and she then continues, P.S. Emily...
Oh, what? She wants to shut up.
Shut up. She continues, you once mentioned a classmate called Cornelius Wright.
Yes, he was the school hunk.
Well, guess.
The school honk was called Cornelius
Yes.
Wright.
Yeah. That tells you something about
If he'd have
the
been at our
calibre
school,
of
he'd have been
education.
Chinese burned into hospital with that name.
He wouldn't have been the school hunk for long at my school, that's for sure. I can assure you he is alive and well and living in the Alps near Saint Gervais. He heard of his mention.
Lovely.
He heard of his mention.
Lovely.
There's still hope for you. And, Corny. Is he known as Corny?
He was called Corny.
Corny
Was he
Wright.
really?
Yes.
It's a different world.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, I start with a bit of a thespian background. You know, I like a story about a sort of over-earnest actor. So imagine my delight to read about, I'm going to call him DDL. Calm down, everyone. Daniel Day-Lewis, I'm talking about.
Yes. I know,
It's okay.
he's earnest.
Oh, is he
yeah.
earnest?
Yeah.
He's been doing what I call a bit of a Suchet, a David Suchet. Because you know when David Suchet plays Poirot, he insists on speaking in a French accent as Poirot. And DDL does the same, doesn't he? He's very into his method. But playing Abraham Lincoln, apparently he's been taking the part so seriously that he was texting his co-star, Sally Field, in the character of Abraham Lincoln. Which
Yeah.
I think sounds quite strange. He maintained this.
Well, the fact that he was texting as Abraham Lincoln, he's
Yeah.
stretching it a bit now, isn't he?
You think so?
It must have got irritating
I
as
can
well.
really identify with this, because when I played Romeo for Dewsbury Arts Group, I frequently emailed Friar Lawrence in character.
What, looking for a few herbs on the side?
I would email Friar Lawrence discussing an apothecary.
Yeah, he'd always got a potion if required. He's quite a character. Yeah, I wonder if in the past he's texted with his big toe.
Who, DDL?
Yeah,
It's my
for
left
my
foot.
left foot.
Oh, very good, Frank.
it's
But
an
what
odd
did
thing
the
now.
text say? I'd pay £1,000 to see those texts. I would pay £1,000.
The thing is that usually these method actors, their thing is they avoid, if they're playing someone from the past, they avoid all modernness.
Can I just say, I love you when you said these method actors.
Yeah. Anthony Sher, when he played Cyrano de Bergerac, I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it might not have been him. Anyway, it might have been Cardinal Richelieu. Somebody
yeah.
French.
One or the other. Yeah.
He used to walk up like 5 flights of stairs from the downstairs dressing room. He couldn't use the lift in character because they didn't have lifts at the time, and he feels it would have spoilt it. So the fact that he can text...
Yeah, I think it's silly.
I find that a bit absurd, yeah.
I've seen the trailer. Have you seen the trailer for the Lincoln film?
No.
I mean, it looks... I mean, he's got the right hat and everything.
Oh, well, that's
They
good.
haven't missed any details.
You'd
Oh, has he
hope
got
not
the-
if he's
has he got
spent
the
a while...
beard?
He's got the beard
Oh.
and what he's
the high
remembered
collar?
is a soul moustache.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, right, yeah.
That was to me, that is the symbol of his
Well,
independence.
I call it Amish chic. And
Amish chic.
may I just say as well, though, Frank, you see, I don't approve of method acting.
No.
Because my mum once told me Johnny Briggs... is it the late Johnny Briggs? I think it might be.
No, he's still alive.
Oh, is he still
It's Johnny
around?
Briggs.
Texting.
What was
Let's know.
his character name?
Mike Baldwin.
Mike Baldwin.
Oh, yeah.
He said when he was at drama school, he said, you say your lines, you get paid, you go home.
Yeah.
That was his attitude to acting. And I think that's a very... I totally approve of that
So if we
attitude.
take the two methods side by side, who would you say had done better? Daniel Day-Lewis or Johnny Briggs?
I'm Briggs all... I'm
That
Team
could be
Briggs.
next week's texting.
He probably couldn't have played Mike Baldwin.
Oh.
Yeah, or he'd have been texting on pants material.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I used to live near Peckham on the subject of Daniel Day-Lewis, and when he was in the film Gangs of New York, he learnt how to butcher in a butcher's in Peckham, and they had a little newspaper article up about it, and the headline was Gangs of New Pork, which I liked.
Tremendous.
And a big picture of him with a meat cleaver, like going grrr, and the big moustaches.
He's see all the research.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand that Wilkes Booth, who shot Abraham Lincoln in the theatre, claimed that he'd fallen asleep and woke up disorientated.
I could have been at home watching television.
He said it doesn't work, is what I believe he said.
doesn't work
It just
and
doesn't
you don't
work.
work.
Why don't they put that on a poster outside the theatre? It doesn't work, Sir Peter Hall.
The theatre could do with some more fun merch, couldn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want light and dark. You don't just want praise outside.
Apparently Daniel Day-Lewis, when he did play Christy Brown in My Left Foot, he stayed in the wheelchair, didn't he?
Oh, did he?
And
What, afterwards?
What, is that a local hotel?
Like,
No, after he'd done the part, you mean?
Room of a
no,
pub.
like during the recording, like in between takes
Oh, he
and
did a
stuff like
Poirot,
that.
yeah.
He did the full thing, because I met an actor who knew another actor who knew another
Was
actor.
that when you did
and
A&E?
when I did Jason the Asthmatic on Always
Yeah,
and
then you've
Everywhere.
got a lot of contacts in that area.
Got a lot of contacts in that world, but apparently he would have the crew lift him over the cables in his wheelchair. That must have been a bit annoying, though. Like if you're the crew and suddenly you're lifting an able-bodied
ramp.
person.
Well, they should have had a ramp for it.
This was a long time ago. It was before ramps,
pre-ramp?
wasn't it? It was before ramps, wasn't it?
There's always
I like
been
Frank
ramps.
and his practical Birmingham solutions. Get a ramp.
They use ramps to build the pyramids. Don't tell me it was pre-ramp.
Yeah, but I mean, on set they didn't have like wheelchair access. That's modern now, isn't it? Wheelchair access.
So he pioneered...
Yeah, he did in a way.
A disabled
You know what? He's
awareness.
too earnest. He needs to do
I
a
was
nice
telling-
rom-com.
I was
Reese Witherspoon. I'd love it if
would
he was
be
in a
good.
rom-com.
That would be really
Wouldn't you
good.
love that, Frank?
That'd be
Danny
excellent.
does rom-com.
I think there could be a 1 weeker for him in Merlin. Can see him as a trouble.
Goody or baddie?
I'm thinking probably associate of Morgana.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is it even on that, Merlin?
What is it
BBC
on?
One?
It's on BBC One on Saturday night.
Prime
I
time.
thought it was live
Is it-
on Sky.
Is it straight after or straight before Strictly? It's after, isn't it?
It's after Strictly.
After the dancing, yeah.
Yeah, so you've had the light entertainment and you get the drama, you see, that's how it goes.
I mean, in a way, that method acting's dangerous. If I'd actually got the part as Miranda's romantic interest, I might have fallen in love with her.
Frankie's still going on about this. About
Well,
4
no, let
times
it
a
go.
week.
You know, the
I mean,
part that
just-
Gary Barlow took off me, that part. Anyway,
Frank,
I'm over it.
Before you go,
Oh, yeah.
I would
Johnny Walker.
I would like to talk about. Did you see this woman? They're just calling her idiot driver. I love her so much.
Oh, the sign.
The Cleveland woman. Yes. So did you see what she did? She drove on a stretch of pavement in order to overtake a school bus.
Horrifying.
Come on, we've all done it. The trouble is that outside schools they put those, those metal piping things outside the gate
yeah.
to stop the kids running out into the road. So it's a tight squeeze.
Oh, is that what that is? Oh, I thought it was decorative. But instead of a kind of stretch and chokey, which is what I would have advised, quite hardcore about these things.
Yeah.
Instead, they made her wear a sign or carry a sign.
Yeah, carry that.
And what it said,
I'll tell you what it says.
Go on.
It said only an idiot would drive on the sidewalk to avoid a school bus.
That's it.
And what I didn't like it doesn't make it clear that it's about her.
Yeah.
That could have been a protester, local parent.
Unless it was on the back of the sign and it said, "I am that idiot."
Maybe.
I'm with this idiot.
Yeah.
What about Frank?
I'm with this idiot, but on the T-shirt, instead of pointing to one side, that the finger points up to her face, to her stupid idiot face.
I like the way in which she did it. There was some video.
She was
horrible.
When a kid is forced to apologise and says sorry, that's what she did. She was chain smoking, angry.
Was
Yeah,
she?
she was angry. I've seen people with a golf sale sign that look chirpier than she did. No, I think it's... I think it should have been somewhat more embarrassing. They shouldn't make you carry a sign with some personal thing that you don't want people to know that really, I'm crippled by sweat rash. If you had to hold the sign... I'll tell you what I don't agree with, making those people hold those hungry and homeless signs.
Yeah, that seems
I think,
harsh,
to
doesn't
me,
it?
I mean, that's rubbing salt in the
What
wounds.
crime have they committed?
Those people have got enough problems.
Yeah.
But it was... do you think it'll work? I can't imagine that woman next time thinking, I better drive careful, I'll have to hold the sign again.
I think she probably liked the attention as well.
Yeah.
She seemed the type.
Well, it's rare that I agree with Jezza, TV's Jezza Clarkson, but apparently he recently took to Twitter to use it to expose bad drivers, and he put on, the driver of the Audi TT with registration.
Did he?
It's either a terrible driver or a maniac, and started outing them as bad drivers, like tailgating me on the A40 or whatever.
As he
which seems
texts from his phone.
Seems like a good use of it, finally.
Why didn't he phone, how's my driving?
Has anyone ever phoned that? You so have? You've so phoned how am I driving?
No, I've never phoned
Okay.
how's my driving, because I just think, I don't have time to
It's only really on commercial vehicles.
coach
I mean.
people. I'm not a support group for other people's driving.
No.
I don't see why if they drive commit any crime. If we're going to say that it seems that custodial sentences is not working as a preventative measure, what about it, instead of the sign, they have to have the crime tattooed on their faces?
Yeah.
Oh, I quite like that.
Yeah,
Well,
that'd be quite a deterrent.
Or just what
it
you would
really
say,
would.
like of doubtful moral character, I think would be good. Like on your forehead.
Yeah.
People know when you're coming.
Of doubtful moral you'd need a big forehead, wouldn't you?
Luckily, I've got a big phone.
Yeah. You or me would be all right, but there are some members of the community that you couldn't even get doubtful on there.
I could have
little
If by
pinhead.
Rudyard Kipling.
That largely overrated poem.
Inspirational as well as a deterrent.
But would you have it in normal writing, or would you have it in mirror writing, like on an ambulance, so that when you looked in the mirror, you got the inspiration?
I'd have it in what's that font? Comedy.
Oh yeah,
Comic Sans.
I'd have it in Comic Sans. Yeah, that's the thing.
Well, that's the thing about that size. When she's going round with the sign saying only an idiot would drive like this, surely there has to be some uniformity so that if other people commit the same crime, they can have the same penance. Like, are they going to have to bring in rules about font size and stuff?
Well, it looked like she'd written her own sign.
Oh,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
it's a bit
See, that's a tall order. If you're going to
arts and
start...
crafts.
I'm
isn't
expecting her to write.
Well, in this country, I don't know what the education system's like in America, but I think the sort of people that get involved in petty crimes, the spelling's going to be, you're not going to know what they've
it?
said
Oh, it'd be
anyway.
all over the shop, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to categorise. What about if what if you make their devil dogs carry a sign that says "Rescue me from this moron"? It's just a thought. Anyway, I feel we've put the world to right in that last link.
Rare moment of social responsibility from the show.
And sorted. Well, if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. It's been lovely to be back after a week's sick leave, and we love you all.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.